Hello world, I'm Farsight, and welcome or welcome back to Techtonica. So here we are back in our hydro base, which is where we're building science. I've done a bit of site prep. Mainly what I wanted to do was plan out where my water wheels were going to go and where my core composers are going. These big square open areas are the locations for where I'm going to put 4 core composers, and I centered them under the big circular waterfall so they could just go up and up and up and up. The science will be coming in from over here, and I've laid out the first of the upper floors here, and we'll have our blue science being milled here, and there'll be purple science feeding the blue science and purple science coming out to us here. Then we're going to basically spawn off both directions from here to build things like the farms and the intermediate parts, with our iron production coming from up in that cave there, and our copper. We have a choice. We can go back toward Victor and pick up this side of the copper from Victor, or we can head off to east here where there's another big hunk of copper there. And I could go either way. I will probably head over here. Idea being that eventually Victor will just chew through this whole thing. It might take forever, but let's think of this as being Victor's copper. This is our copper over here. We'll go pick it up. Now, I have planned this out, and here are the notes. Boom. So this is the output of a big old Python script where I have expressed the recipes, and then I've said I need so many of these, and it works out how many of the subparts I need, and then I say I'm going to build the subpart now, and it says, oh, okay, let's match it. So here's our setup. I want Shiverthorn and a Kindlevine farm, same size as the one at Victor. And we are going to turn our plant matter fiber into frames. I'll just toss that in with the Kindlevine farm. It could just go right there. It's only 2 machines, well, 1.5 actually. We are going to need iron and copper, and I got an exact size for these, and I thought let's freeze it at 6 miners and 6 smelters. The miners are going to be feeding the smelters, and with my current bonuses, the miners end up running at 95%. That's fine. Then we have the blue core section, which is everything to make blue cores, excluding the purple cores that go into it. And we'll need processor units and cooling systems. Processor units require electrical components and the plant matter frames from the Kindlevine area. And the cooling systems require mechanical components, which require iron and copper. But iron and copper for electrical and mechanical components. We also require electrical and mechanical components down for the purple cores. Now, just for fun, I'm going to modify the scripting here so that we do 1 purple core at a time, just to see what the difference is. So if we set this up as 3 separate production lines, oops. The purple core line is why is this? Oh, because I'm a Goomba. Blue core requires processor units, cooling systems, electrical and mechanical components, and I'll move the plant matter frames down to where they are. The purple cores require copper wire mechanical components. So this bonus electrical component was actually a bug in my scripting. Yay! I thought it looked a little weird. I'm messing around a bit in Emacs here, sorry. So, blue cores, processor units, which require plant matter frames, and electrical components. Cooling systems, which require mechanical components. Something tells me I am going to need more. Let's do 5 more assemblers here, just in case. If I'm going to break this apart and actually make these separate production lines, these actually come out evenly. Why is the copper? Oh, copper wire needs to be moved up too. Copper wire is needed for electrical components. And I'll put a line break in here before the cooling system. There it is. Blue cores. We're going to make all the processor units we need, which are going to require plant matter frames, electrical components, and copper wire. Cooling system requires mechanical components. Purple cores require mechanical components and copper wire, and 3 of those. There. And now we get rid of the stars and turn them into counts. And there is our science production all set up. I'm going to expand this. I sized the editor based on my initial guess on the table size. There it is. There's the whole thing. And I hope I didn't just move everything around too much. The order that I'm going to build, let's take this off the screen. And what you should see is we have space for our water wheels down here. And I have not included all of the cross braces, which I should. Let's get rid of this. I wasn't intending for this area to... wasn't intending for that area to have water wheels. We'll start the water wheels here. So this is going to be space for 10. I'm going to commit to that now. I wasn't putting in the cross braces because I wasn't exactly sure how things were going to shake out. So the balance is that 4 water wheels drive 10 crank generators. And we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So if 4 drive 10, then 10 drive 25. So my thinking is I will start by populating 4 and 10, so 10 going back that way. And on the other side I'll do 4 and 10, and then later I'll add 2 more and 5 more out that way by digging back further into the hill. So let's start. That's the right way. That is the right way. You can turn these around and they spin the wrong direction. Water wheels are not actually driven by the current of the water. They just spin in their appropriate direction as long as they have water under them. According to my spreadsheet, I need a total of 12 water wheels. I'll that's nice. And when I was demonstrating that you could turn around the water wheels, I forgot that I was demonstrating that, and I left them turned around. Sorry, it makes absolutely no difference to the game. It makes every difference in the world to my eyes. So the reason why I canceled the next column out here was because there's not space in here for 2 more water wheels. And I don't think there's space over here to carry it 2 more. Well, maybe there is. Maybe there is. Yeah, let's put in another row. So we're going to do 16. We get a little extra power here. One more on this side than we had, and we need to use one more space here, and that looks like that'll fit a water. Let's make sure. Yep, that water wheel can go there, and we'll spin it. So now we need to place 10 crank generators going off this direction. First step is make sure I've got it oriented right. If that's oriented wrong, so we turn it around. 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. And this will go 6, 7. One shorter because we are dealing with a bend in the river. You can actually stand back here and drop them down just as fast as you can walk backwards. So that gives us a total of 6 megawatts of energy. And that matches my notes. Well, it's in excess of my notes. So my notes said I needed 12 water wheels and 30 crank generators. This gives us 16 and 40. And we're expandable. We can double this going the other direction. And then we could go another half again. So we could do another 6 megawatts and another 3 megawatts just on these strips. Then we can add strips going this way. My vision is we just keep going that way through this entire cavern, reserve that whole first floor, all the water space for water wheels, and all of the land space at that same level for crank generators. So now I want to start thinking about this. I want to get my core composers out quickly because I have a whole bunch of cores that need to go into them. I'm going to put one on the right and I'm going to put one on the left, just like that. And core composers are on F6. They're not on F6 yet. And where did core composers go? I had 2 of them. Did I put down a whole bunch of stuff? I must have put down a whole bunch of stuff, including the core composers. thinking I won't need to carry these around while I'm planning. Now you notice I didn't rebuild this area in here. So at one point I had some boxes over here, which I picked up. I'm beginning to think that I left those core composers at Victor. Oh, there they are. Silly me, of course. While I was digging in, I thought, let's dig in, let's find something close to here. I thought, if I dig in here, are we going to get protected? I thought maybe it would be protected because this area is all protected. It wasn't. So instead I have this stuff. Pick up any of that. These are all base building parts. And there's my 2 core composers and all of the science that I picked up from Victor. That will go on F6. One there. One there, and these should be exactly on corners. Yes, perfect. So while we are initially loading, I want to load really fast. We'll reduce this later, but I am going to go ahead and use my fast inserters. That. And because we're not ready to build over there yet, I can put my box down, but I don't want to use up this area up here yet, so I'll put my box up here. And what I'm going to do, start from here, make a big old area. So we'll do like that. And the box can go there, or I could put it off. I'll put it off to the side, like that. And we'll just make a big old mess coming around like that. So we have 8 fast inserters taking from the belt and 8 fast inserters putting on the belt, and that's going to be 40, 80, 160, 320. This belt can only handle 240. I think I have some Mark II belt on me. Yes, I do. So we're going to run this on a Mark II belt, just so that we get everything all set up. But for now, he goes on 5. Just like that. I want to feed my science quickly so I can tear this down. And let's start with the blue. I'm going to stand here while it feeds all the blues that I have out there. And there we go. And now we drop the purple in. And that will continue. So we have our power, and we have our core composers down. And I need to pause the game while I go get something to drink. My throat is kind of parched. I will be right back. In fact, I'm not going to pause. What I'm going to do, I'm going to step back here, and we can watch it core compose while I am slightly AFK. And I'm back. Wow, so the core composers have already gone way up there. Notice this composer's hit the ceiling on part of it, but it's going to continue to work its way up. Now, in theory, once one of these has hit the ceiling, you could take away the composer itself and move it, and the research nodes are still there. Cores are going to just stay where they are. I think what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to keep the composers in place. I remember seeing other people having their science hit the ceiling and mushroom out to the sides. So if we leave our composers in place, if that's a technology that opens up, suddenly all these composers will be able to continue flooding the top of the cavern. The other thing I can do is put up a scaffolding like I did at Victor and climb up these guys and add more open space at the top. Dig, dig, dig. Don't have to worry about that for a while, though, because we have a lot of space here. So this guy is already done. And we can zap him. Just like that. I can reclaim my precious red. And now we start building over here. So looking back at my notes again, we have now done the crank generators and the water wheels. And we have placed the core composers. And now I want to figure out how do I want to start doing this? I think what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start with the blue cores. I think the layout I'm going to use, let's turn off the notes again, is the blue cores are just going to come right down through the middle. They're going to be on the belt. And we're going to have its processor units and cooling systems coming from, say, the left. And off to the right, I will build independent production lines for purple. I'll do 3 machines of purple, each one with its own supporting cast. So we'll have purple science coming in from the side. Our blue science will take all that it wants from there, and then they will merge out. So, with that in mind, we can set this up. Oh, we want to go back to normal belts too. Nothing we're doing here requires more than a normal belt. So that, which will be the output of this machine, just programmed for blue cores. Now his rates, he doesn't require much in the way of inputs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the purple core in this way, and it will merge. So there's my output. And there's my purple core inputs. This will be my purple cores coming from that line that way. Make sense so far? Okay, so the cooling mechanism is going to be 2 of these machines. Let's rough it out before I put it in place. So cooling, the cooling guy go. Cooling systems are here. Cooling systems require mechanical components and shiverthorn extract. Shiverthorn extract is going to have to come from the farm. So I'm going to put the farms out that direction. And this also requires mechanical components. I thought electrical components. Mechanical components. So this requires copper and iron ingots. The copper and iron ingots and such. So I'm going to put this probably here-ish. So the other production line, that was the cooling system. This is for the processor units. Processor units require 30 per minute of those 2 things. So I'm going to put them on either side so we can direct insertion. It's going to require plant matter frames and electrical components. Electrical components require copper. Now, electrical components require 20 copper per minute, but I only need to run the machine at 75%. Remember, let's look at the notes again. Here's the processor units, which require 15 electrical components per minute. Electrical components produce 15 using 7.5 iron ingots and 15 copper wire, and there's our 15 copper wires. So we are perfectly okay with this configuration. So how do I fit these into the puzzle? Well, this guy's my output. This guy will be receiving plant matter fiber from the farms. So he's got a farm input. And these guys, so I think this orientation looks good. I think I'm just going to replicate it starting from here. So here is my plant matter frames. I'm going to use filter inserters so that I can look at them to figure out what's going on. And he's going to require 60 of them. I'm actually going to need filter inserters anyway. Let's put it on this side. And these require... Where to go? Here, plant matter fiber. So this will have to come in from that direction from a farm. And this sends out 15 per minute, just like that. And this guy is my processor unit, which will go into here. And we need 15 per minute. So one yellow inserter is perfectly fine for now. We're running the assembler for processors at half speed. And what will happen is it will actually run as fast as it can based on its inputs. And at some point it will either be limited by its inputs or it will fill up its outputs and be limited by its output. They don't really care which. So the other input that we haven't satisfied yet is electrical components. Right like that. So again, electrical components, if I'm looking at my notes, we are only using 15 per minute of them. We can do that. And last one here is copper wire, which requires iron ingots, copper ingots, excuse me. This all requires iron ingots, so this is going to require iron coming in here. Again, let's use a filter inserter so I can see what I'm asking for. Here's our copper. It's going to want copper ingots, so again, a filter inserter so I can see what I'm asking for. And our total rate for copper wire is actually only 15 per minute. This machine will be running at full speed. So this machine running at full speed turns out just enough of our copper wire to run this machine at 75%, which turns out 15 per minute of the electrical components, which runs this machine at 50%. So yeah, there we go. Now, this machine doing the frames really does need 60 per minute in and 15 per minute out. So this will be running at full speed just to keep the 15 per minute going to here. So this is actually going to be perfect. This machine will be running at half speed based on its inputs. And the components running at 3/4 speed. This is fine. What other inputs do we have here? This just takes that stuff. Let's put it over here. So that is our production line for the processors to be used for the blue stuff. And now we need to have coolant. Coolant will require an input from the field. In this case, it's going to need to have the shiver thorn extract, and this requires copper and iron. I am thinking that we can set them up pointed sideways. Like that. So you are creating the cooling system. And I'm going to mark that you need to have the shiverthorn extract coming in. And according to my notes, you require 7.5 shiverthorn extract per minute. So even just a normal yellow inserter will do it. This guy is the other one, mechanical components. We are running him at half speed, so yeah, he's not even using as much as he could be using. And he wants iron and copper coming in. And we can swap the order of our inputs on any of these. The main reason I have these here is so I can mouse over them and see that, yes, there's lower left hand, he wants copper there, and he wants iron there, and extract, and so on. So if I satisfied all those inputs, this guy would be ready to go, except he wouldn't have any of the purple science. This is fine. And we didn't use a whole lot of our space here, so we still have an opportunity to do other stuff back behind the science here. We do need to bring iron and copper and shiverthorn extract and that in. So we need 4 components coming in here. So what if I rough out a mini bus just coming in like this? So he can't quite make that deal. He can come in here, just like that. So currently, we know the bottom 2 have to be iron and copper. We don't care which is which. This guy needs to be copper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the bottom guy copper. He's just going to stop there. So he is going to need copper. Next guy up is going to be iron. And he stops there. And then we need to have these coming from the farm, which will be their appropriate things. Now, at the end of these belts, this inserter will not pick off one thing from the end of the belt, but if we turn the belt inward, it works. Same thing with these other 2. And I can hit Shift R to turn that because I remembered to bind it this time. So all of the end belts are going into their inserters. And we have our inputs here. So do we have the ability to lay out all 3 of our purple science here? Let's take a look at what those look like. I'm going to start right at this corner so we can measure the size of it, and then we'll move it into place. So, purple research cores. They require mechanical components and copper wire. And actually it requires 1 on each side. So he's purple. It's worse than that. It requires 2 mechanical component machines and 1 copper wire machine. So can I lay them out in a row like this? So if I make this guy purple, I make this guy the copper wire, and then mechanical components. So now the problem is getting the mechanical components down to here. Which means doing something like this. Oh, how come those are red? So, these two to a belt. Oh, okay, so orange inserters, when viewed in certain light, look just like the red ones. So that is minimum what we need, and of course we have to route our inputs. I don't think this leaves us enough room to put all three of our purples in here unless we dig into the wall like crazy. And direct insertion, we have 3 machines that would need to direct insert into him, and he still needs a way out. So at least something needs to come in the end, so we cannot compress it anymore in this direction. Also, we need some way of bringing in iron and copper into these machines. I know from experience that if I space them out, I can bring something down the middle there, like that. And in fact, if our bus is here, we bring a tag out there, and then we bring the other one down. And that leaves with how do we get copper to this guy, and I guess he just grabs it off the end. Okay, so let's build one of those, and then we'll build another one of those, and we'll build another one of those. So our first one is going to be boom, 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 boom. We could move it over a little bit. If I want it to line up nicely with this, we could move it over. I could keep this centered. Yeah, let's keep it where it is. It's nice and centered. And I'm going to stick with my idea here. Doing this. This requires copper input. And I got his output here. So I can bring it to here. And this will be our purple science. Sliding it right in there. How about that? So these two go back to farms, but these are ones I care about for this. So there's our copper line. Comes out here. And here is our iron line. There we go. Mechanical components. It's expecting copper and iron. Got them. And more mechanical components. Copper and iron. Need our outputs coming out like that. And back here we have our copper wire. And here we have our Whipple Science. I think what I will do is, for this recording, I'm just going to do the one purple machine here. And I will replicate this backwards into the wall off camera. That's going to be less exciting to watch. The key information here is that I need to bring iron and copper up to this guy somewhere. As this guy moves backwards, it means that these buses are going to be moving. They're going to be reversing. We're going to have copper coming in from over there and joining. We're going to have iron coming in from over there and coming up. Which means I believe that this line here below the floor is where we're going to have to run our copper and our iron supplies, which means that these generators stop. That's okay. We'll dig the generators in on the other side. So we'll have this area here be reserved for moving product. So if we bring our copper from there and our iron from over there, how do I want to bring this in? Let's rough this out. Say we've got iron coming from the left at ground level and copper coming from the right, the next up. We want copper coming into this guy, and I'm going to just flat out do it right here. So we could do it a little bit ahead of that. So there's our iron. It's going to be above us. This is copper. Bring it from there. There's our iron. And copper will come in here. There we go. If I had overthought that, I would have put copper on the lower part so it matched here, but that's setting up our main bus for the convenience of one particular subassembly. Now, this guy needs to head back that way for the farm, and so I put down the floors, it automatically left the holes there. The next question is, where do we put the farm? I think here is going to be how far we get farm, so we're just going to start from here. Like that. Here's the front edge of the farm. So let's see, what do I want to do first? And this will be the other edge. I'm going to drop this hole in here to remind me not to step over this line. We're going to end up with, let's see, one Chifferthorn farm and one Kindlevine farm. So easy peasy. Doesn't matter what order we put them in. It is going to need first and second threshing. We're doing the frames over here, so I don't need to include the frames in my farm area. Thinking. It'd be nice if the thresher was down in this area. So we're going to be doing 2 threshers, which means we need input and we need outputs. So here, I think. This is the second threshing. So, second threshing of which? Let's make this the Kindle Vine. So Kindle Vine's second threshing puts out extract and fiber. And the extract we want to gather somewhere useful. So it's going to head off to the back wall there. For now, let's see, am I using extract for anything in my... yes, Shiverthorn extract, well, Kindle Vine extract, I'm sorry. Kindle Vine extract is net output. We're going to be producing 90 Kindle Vine extract per minute until we figure out what we're going to do with it. Well, I happen to remember Kindle Vine extract and Shiverthorn extract are both very useful for the new parts. They're both used in explosives, so yeah, we'll have plenty of things we can do with it. This is the Kindle Vine extract. Here we go. The other output from this one is the plant matter fiber, which we will need over there. And I don't think we use it for anything else. Nope. But there will be a net output of plant matter fiber. So again, we're going to take the plant matter fiber all the way up to the edge. Plant matter fiber is this top guy, so we can actually bring it across there. It's 2/3 of it. Oh, this is going to be interesting. What I really want is a priority splitter where all of it goes to here until this guy is full. Okay, well, we'll have to work that out. Second threshing. Now, each one of these, referring to my notes, requires 30 Kindle Vine stems per minute, which means I need to put in 2 basic inserters or a filter inserter. Oh, no, wait, each of them only needs 10. That's right. What if I make it come in the other direction? I don't need to have it look like my other base. So before I go any further, I do want to route my outputs. What happens if I just let it back up That's actually a really good thought. So the only thing this farm is really for right now is routing the plant matter fiber to be used in science, which means these guys are going to back up. They're going to be running at 2/3 speed, so it'll slow down the whole thing. Perfectly all right. As long as we keep dumping our extract into a bag, good. Oh, a box. Let's make a box to dump the extract into. So if each one of these guys is turning out, well, how much total extract am I coming up with? Let's check the notes on that one. The net output from this includes 90 per minute of Kindle Vine extract. So this is 20, 40, 60, 80, 120. So we can sink 120 into this box. Perfect. And this guy just comes over here, and his only destination is this guy right here. We can simplify the heck out of this. In fact, I think I'm going to go back to my original idea of having the input come in here. You need 60. I am going to use 3 basic inserters here. Let's keep it really simple. There we go. Now, I could have reversed this. I should reverse this. That's getting a little fancy here. So I'm going to put the yes. Redesign on the fly for great goodness. Primary output at ground level is that guy. Our inputs I am going to use long inserters. So actually, if we run this the other way, I wanted to get it organized so I could tag it in. so we don't end up with one sitting on the end. Not that it's a major thing, but it's a thing. And now we can send our byproduct out here. So Kindle Vine extract is coming out the front side. And this guy's coming out the back side. If we end up upgrading these to where we can't fit the outputs on one filter inserter, we can take more outputs from this side and merge them into the appropriate destination. The trick there is going to be this one right here. So if we do that, then one of our inputs ends up sticking on the outside here for him. At which point, if we are upgrading things to run at much higher rates, we're good. You can already see this is going to be a longer recording than most. So our thresher is going to be up here, sending his output. This is going to be the primary thresher, the first threshing. And the first threshing of Kindle Vine gives back the seeds and the output that we want. I believe my geometry looks something like this. So now we need to decide what I want my actual farm to look like. I'm going to bring the farm all the way out to the end. Like that. So his output's going to be coming out here. Inputs are coming in here. There's a couple ways of managing the seeds. One is just to put a belt coming down here, and these guys don't get enough seeds. They have to wait. The other way is to put the belt coming down here. I really like this. Saw it, Ragarath worked this one out. Which is really nice, because as seeds come by, it will fill this tag up. So there'll be 3 seeds sitting in here and 1 in the inserter ready to insert. Now there is some weakness here. You can end up in situations where you end up with more down here than you want. What I'd like to do is send up 1 this way. And I'm going to, oh, come on. Come back over the top. Just like that. So once we get seeds on this loop, they will keep cycling around until they can be grabbed and placed on one of the ready areas. And now it's just a matter of grabbing all of the seeds that come out. And frankly, I've not had a problem with just putting it on a belt like this. And he needs to... guess that's my best bet? Yeah. There's his input. And he has 2 outputs. I'm going to place there and there. This is the seed output, and this is the stem output. Sorry. So in theory, if I dump seeds in here, these guys will light up, and after 2 minutes they produce outputs, which will go back to here and get threshed. The seeds will be sent back, be planted again, and the stems will come out here. Stems will be picked up by the threshers. Threshers will send their byproduct out here, which needs to go into a box. So our byproduct of Kindlevine extract will build up in the box. Our main product of Kindlevine fiber, plant fiber, come out here. And will feed in here. Now, how many seeds do I need? I think I need 50 seeds. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm just going to temporarily put a whole bunch of power floor out there. I am going to put a long inserter there and a box like that. And now we can put 50 seeds in there. Well, that's great. I only have 89 seeds. I'll put all 89 in. No, if you put in too many seeds, there's a possibility that this will deadlock. So we need 50 seeds. And by scrolling down, I can reduce the quantity. You don't know how long it took me to work that out. 50 here, and now we've got our 50. And these seeds will be picked up and planted one at a time. So half the seeds are going to go right until it's seen 8 of them. 4 goes in and 4 goes ready. And this will divert half to there and half the rest to there and half the rest to there. So that'll go. And now is a really good time for us to take a break, because this recording has gone on much longer than usual. I probably should have taken a break. Well, I may go back and look at dividing this session. In one session, I did the whole thing, starting from introducing it and putting down the core composers. I may break that up into multiple episodes. If so, I may or may not remember to cut out me nattering about it. Or we'll just upload the whole thing as one thing. But that gets our first farm. When we come back, we will do the next farm over, which is the Shiverthorn. It will look exactly the same, with the exception that its product, the Shiverthorn extract, will head into this particular belt here, which I may bring across the backside. Notice we've already lopped over the side here, which I said I wasn't going to do. So perhaps one of the things I'll do offline is move my planters down, and I will see you when we get back.